wanted to show how I round pen slash kind of lunge Rhett using some positive reinforcement. So like now I do this a little bit more with the round pen and the targets and stuff like this, but this is definitely going to be more of a mixing. I'm still using a whip, but he did understand it pretty well, and he didn't look like he was super anxious about anything. So I do want to reinforce him for going forward, nice and relaxed at a walk. Um, Again, just like under saddle, he wants to kind of break into trot and canter. So I need to be reinforcing more for a nice relaxed walk, downward transitions, and standing still. So, and again, that's going to be on me is overlooking those things and not reinforcing them as much as I should. So, we're just going to have him walk out. This looks pretty good. And he does well. So like I'm gonna reinforce him here again for walking calmly. Like he doesn't go right to the rail. Like I like that he stays off the rail. He stays close to me. And the positive reinforcement is what is doing that. If I wasn't using that, he would definitely be out on the rail. And he used to be out on the rail before I started using that. Because this video is still kind of from my experimental phase and doing a lot of mixing. So now I've asked him to trot, and he does that little trot where he's kind of thinking about cantering, like right there. But the positive reinforcement definitely helps with like Liberty stuff. See there, he's going into canter. I don't think I asked for that. There we go. And now he goes back into trot. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He kind of just goes into transitions again, like he's thinking about cantering, because I've weighted that behavior too much with too much reinforcement is what happened. Because I didn't think about, I'm clicked there for the downward transition to trot. Um, at the time, I didn't think about what was the most reinforcing thing for him, and him being a forward horse. With that it in itself was reinforcing, and then I was reinforcing it a lot. So I needed to balance that behavior out by reinforcing him a lot for downward transitions for walking and standing and stopping. So I just didn't know that as much at the time. And I was also very focused on, oh, well, I want trot canter transitions. I want to work on canter, and then I would reinforce that a lot. So, but a nice, I just want him to have a nice, relaxed trot where he's not thinking about cantering. I don't necessarily like that was quite good. I clicked that and reinforced that trot. I also don't necessarily want him thinking walk all the time. I just want him when I cue the trot, he's just trotting, and that's it. And I've gotten a lot better at that now, using just mostly, if anything, positive reinforcement with the target. Um, so that helps a lot, and then the weighting of the behaviors with the reinforcer. So, and I mean, what I'm doing here with the whip is just kind of, I just kind of changed my hand on it. Like I'm not using it, I'm not chasing him with it or anything. It's just kind of there. So he probably doesn't even really need it because he does go forward quite well. A good, nice trot transition here. I like this. He looks to be staying in trot quite well and not anticipating. I think I asked for canter there. I think that's what I wanted because I didn't break him back down or ask him to trot. That actually looks quite nice. I thought that he broke right when I said that. Looked good. But yeah, that was really nice. So he does have a very nice canter, but he can only hold it for so long, and you can start seeing him become unbalanced. Like that time, he wasn't in balance. Like he kind of was lifting up at the neck. He seemed pretty balanced. You'll tell when he does get unbalanced. He'll raise his head and neck up straight. He'll hollow his back. He kind of falls out behind with his hind legs, and he'll rush and kind of not necessarily swing his head to side, but he's kind of not moving straight. So those are the times where he loses his balance. So at this point, like I'm just kind of working on doing some lunging, round penning, things like that. We did some ground driving to where I can build up that strength at the canter specifically, so that when I am doing it under saddle, it's a bit easier. I don't want to do everything under saddle because it is harder for him to do that with the added weight of the rider. So, but that's where he was out there. And then looking back at this, like, see, I'm just kind of using my stick to have him change direction. Like, I'm just picking it up and kind of shutting that door to the left there, and then he goes the other way. So there's no chasing him with it, anything like that. He doesn't need that, and we don't want to do that anyway. But so there, he wants to break into canter again. I don't believe that I cued that. He's just anticipating again because I did reinforce that, and he did stand there for a while afterward. So again, multiple transitions into canter, and this is a very nice canter. I wanted to show how nice this was versus what he was normally doing. And then the other part about this is he kept breaking into canter, he kept breaking into canter. And then I was like, oh, fine, all right, just canter, and then I reinforce it. But now I'm reinforcing all of those things. He was like, oh, I'm gonna canter. Oh, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna canter, and he wants to break into that canter. So then I'm going ahead and just asking him to do it. I need to ask for the opposite of that so I can balance him out. So instead of just being like, oh, fine, you just want to canter, I need to be like, no, let's walk or let's stop and stand still and really reinforce those behaviors so that he's more balanced and he's not always just thinking forward, forward, forward. So that was not a good thing on my part. I need to not be doing that. Also, back at the time that this was taken, he probably could have done well from having some adjustments, stuff like that. Just some physical things to make sure that he was cool with. That would have helped out too. But I like that he could walk there and he wasn't anticipating. He's pretty good at that. It's that trot where he's so close to cantering and he breaks that gate, but he walked nicely, so I clicked and reinforced. And my pattern here for Rhett at this time was like he'd walk, he'd try to trot, and then he'd walk, and then he would be done. So you also got to be careful with that, so they don't always do the same thing. You do lots of different transitions. They're not just knowing exactly what you're doing. And then I wanted to add a little clip at the end because I taught him bridling. He'd been bridle before, but I added this or changed this or retrained this later on, but how he is to bridle with clicker training. And I just hold it up and he immediately brings his nose over, he opens his mouth, he tries to grab the bit, and he just was very enthusiastic about bridling. And obviously, he came to me already knowing how to bridle, but I kind of retaught it with positive reinforcement. So I just wanted to show this clip because I loved how he really wanted to bridle. I would pick up the bridle and he would be putting his head over there so he could put the bit in his mouth.